Hi everyone, welcome to the video. Hope you're all well. Tonight I'm going to be bringing you my round 11 tips for the 2021 NRL Telstra Premiership. Last week I got 7 out of 8. How many did you get? Let me know in the comment section below. There's a few games to get through. Some of these are going to be really hard to tip. So if anyone gets a perfect round again this week, you deserve a trophy of some kind, because we've got some very tough matches with some games which are literally flip of the coin. So let's get into the first one. Thursday night, North Queensland up against Newcastle. This game is being played at the Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville. North Queensland have been travelling all right over the last month or so. That first 4 or 5 week period, it was doom and gloom. It was looking like potentially a wooden spoon, yeah. But they've turned it around. Last week they had a pretty good performance against East. I think East were the better side overall, and North Queensland did get a lot of the rub of the green in that match, but I think that they put in an alright performance against East, but didn't win the game. For Newcastle, it's been a very disappointing year for them. Last week they were shite against West Tigers. A lot of people tipped Newcastle and they let a lot of people down. For this game, I'm going to go for North Queensland to win. I'm going to go for them to win between 1 to 12 points. 2 reasons: it's being played in Townsville. The other reason is that I think North Queensland have been travelling a bit better than Newcastle, and I think North Queensland probably have a bit more confidence over Newcastle, so I'm going to go for North Queensland to win. The first game on the Friday sees New Zealand up against West Tigers. This game is being played in neutral territory, Central Coast Stadium there. New Zealand, they've been one of those sides this year again. They're an accumulator ruiner, a multi-ruiner. Once again, a lot of people tipped them to cause the upset over Parramatta, and once again, they let down a lot of people. They have won a couple of games this year, but they've been very hot and cold. And for West Tigers, they surprised a lot of people last week. They put in a good performance against Newcastle after that awful showing against the Gold Coast. This is a game that's a flip of the coin. It could go either way because both sides are so inconsistent, but I'm going to go for West Tigers to win this game between 1 to 12. I just have a feeling that West Tigers will win, and it'll leave some pressure on Michael Maguire. The main game on the Friday sees the local rivalry, the local derby. Cronulla Sutherland up against St George. This one is a home match for Cronulla at St George's home ground, Cogra Oval. For Cronulla, it's been all downhill since they sacked John Morris. And for St George, they've been fucked over hard by the NRL judiciary, and with injuries they've got about 6 or 7 players out for this match against Cronulla. I thought Cronulla tried really hard against South Sydney last week, as I thought that they would, but that bad call towards the end of the game pretty much ended any hope of them getting back into that match against South. But I'm going to go for Cronulla to win this game. I think one of the main reasons I'm going to go for them to win this match is because St George have so many players out, and they've been a bit down on confidence over the last couple of weeks. And it might finally be a win for probably one of the worst interim coaches in the history of Rugby League, Josh Hannay. So we might finally get a win as Cronulla coach. The first game on the Saturday sees the Gold Coast up against Canterbury Bankstown at Seaboard Super Stadium on the Gold Coast. I'm not going to speak too much about this game. Canterbury have been pretty much shite for the whole year. They've been awful to watch. They couldn't even beat Canberra on the Sunday, even though it was 13 against 11. For the Gold Coast, they can attack, but they can't defend. For this game, I'm going to go for the Gold Coast to win 13 plus. I think even though the Gold Coast can't defend, they'll just outscore Canterbury, and I think they'll win quite comfortably there on the Gold Coast. The next game on Super Saturday is Sydney Roosters up against Brisbane. This one's being played at the City Cricket Ground. 5 to 10 years ago, even going back further, this would have been probably the game of the round. 2 of the competition heavyweights back in those days, but these days things have changed. Even though East are still up there, Brisbane, they're down the cellar these days. They're a shell of what they used to be as a club. East, even though they've got pretty much 3/4 of their team out with injury. They still showed up every week. They're still playing really well. I knew that they'd beat North Queensland, and they did. For Brisbane, as I said in my last tipping video, this whole year has been a case of sometimes they'll show up and they'll scare teams and they'll be right in the contest, and there's other weeks that they'll just capitulate. And we saw last week they capitulated against Manly. For this game, I'm going to go for Eastern Suburbs to win 13+. I think they're going to be too good for Brisbane. Brisbane's last couple of trips to the City Cricket Ground have been a cricket score, if you pardon the pun there. So I'm going to go for East to win by a cricket score. They'll probably lose 3 wickets for about 50 runs or something like that. The main game on the Saturday is Canberra up against Melbourne. This one's being played at Bruce Stadium, or as it's known now, GIO Stadium. Canberra got that win over Canterbury last week. I thought that it was a really gutsy effort. It was a real good showing by Canberra. It was backs against the wall there, down to 11 men on the pitch, and they still managed to come away with the win. For Melbourne, they did flog St George, but you have to remember that St George had 1 player in the sin bin, and then they also played pretty much most of the match with 12 men on the pitch, so it's hard to get a read on what would have happened if it would have been 13-on-13 for the whole game. But the way that Melbourne's playing and some of the scores they're racking up, I'm going to go for Melbourne to put another big score on Canberra. I'm going to go for Melbourne to win 13+ in this game. I think Melbourne's going to be too strong for Canberra. The main game on the Sunday, and potentially the game of the round, is South Sydney up against Penrith. This one's being played at Apex Oval, which is in Dubbo. Apex Predator Oval. For South, they got back to winning ways last week against Cronulla. Penrith, they absolutely thrashed the Gold Coast. It should have been over 50 points, but for some reason the bunker decided to deny Penrith the try. Apparently, if you fend someone in the head now, it's no try. So the bunker can fuck right off right there. With this game, it's a couple of weeks ago, I would have probably said that this would have been a close contest. South has still got some players out. Penrith are white hot at the moment. So I'm going to go for Penrith to win 1-12. I think Penrith are going to be too good for South, although I think South will be right in this game. I think Penrith at the moment, with the fact that they've got hardly anyone out and the way that they're playing, I think they're going to have too much class for South. But this could be a potential finals game in the making down the line. And speaking of finals games, the final game on the Sunday sees Parramatta up against Manly. This could be a potential final game at the end of the year. This one's being played at the Western Sydney Stadium there. Parramatta's only lost the 1 game for the entire year, which was against St George. And we all know St George play their annual game of the year against Parramatta. For Manly, they thrashed Brisbane. This game is probably going to be one of the toughest to call for the entire round. Both sides are playing well. Manly have shot up the table ever since Tom Trbojevic come back. There's going to be, I think, a lot of good moments in this game. It's going to be a really good match. But even though I'm a Parramatta fan, I have a feeling that Manly's going to win on Sunday. I think they're going to win 1-12. Some reasons why I'm going to go for Manly is that with the likes of Wonga Blake back in the side for Parramatta, he missed 11 tackles on the weekend against New Zealand there. And also, I've noticed with a lot of Manly's tries, they've been going to Jason Saab a lot, and they've been going to the edges. And Parramatta defensively are not very good on the edges, especially now that Wonga Blake's back there. And also, Micah Sivo, he's guilty of being found out defensively. He's going to be marking against Jason Saab on the weekend, and I just have a feeling that I think the way that Parramatta have gone, they've been playing well, but I just think that Manly's been playing a little bit better at the moment, to be fair. And I think Manly's going to beat Parramatta, but I don't think it's going to be by a lot. But anyway, that's my tips for round 11 of the NRL 2021 Telstra Premiership. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know your tips in the comment section below. Anyways, this is Rugby League History signing off. My next video will be tomorrow. That will be the round 7 tips for the Betfred 2021 Super League competition. Anyways, everyone, I'm getting out of here. I'll catch you all later. Tatty bye now.